Whiskey 4 United Tango Mary.
Whiskey 4 United Tango, Mike, Whiskey 9 Oscar.
Okay, this is Whiskey 4 United Tango Mary, 3F, Tennessee.
Copy to 3 Alpha Tennessee. We're 5 Alpha Wisconsin.
Roger, 5 Alpha Wisconsin. That was 3 Frank, Tennessee.
This is amateur radio, also known as ham radio. Operators and the general public gathered recently at UT Martin for Amateur Radio Field Day.
We're testing our emergency communications capabilities by seeing how far we can reach out to other places. Field Day started in 1933, and that's what it was for, so hams could see how they would act in a real emergency situation, how many contacts they could make.
We set up our antennas and our radios in an emergency format. We try to make contact with as many stations as we can within the 24-hour period of field day, starting at 1 o'clock today until 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon.
Working with state and local emergency response agencies, amateur radio operators provide a vital communications link when all other means prove inadequate.
What this does is tries to prepare us to, in the event of an emergency such as a hurricane or something like this, we'll be able to make contact with other operators outside the disaster area.
Amateur radio is a hobby, but because of the way the FCC rules are, it tells us to be involved in public service, and it gives us actual responsibility for our communities if there is problems with communication systems going down. So it's written into the federal laws.
Amateur radio has been around since the dawn of radio technology, officially recorded into the books around 1907. Over the decades, the equipment has made giant leaps from the first chirps of Morse code to modern digital technology.
We have a continuous wave station, which is what you would call Morse code. There's a voice station in this room, and also in the actual Emergency Operations Center at the telephone switch room is a PSK-31 station, which is a digital data station. PSK-31 is not error corrected, so it's pretty much just keyboard to keyboard chat. But there is a VHF, very high frequency packet station, that is error corrected, so it's more or less like a fax machine.
Whiskey 4 United Tango Mary. Thank you. This is Whiskey 4 United Tango Mary, 3F, Tennessee.
The nickname ham radio was actually a derogatory term back in the early days. It was used by wired telegraph operators to describe the new and supposedly undertrained amateur wireless operators.
The only reason it's called amateur is because we're not paid, okay? Professionals are paid, amateurs are not. It doesn't mean that we're not good at what we do. We're communicators. That's our job.
Early on, amateur operators had to learn Morse code, but the evolution of equipment and conditions has changed this and several other requirements.
They dropped the Morse code. Actually, the military doesn't even require Morse code for most of their radio operators now. The only ones that I think really need it are pilots, because there's still some beacons that they have to avoid, and they transmit their locations in Morse code. But pretty much the digital modes have made it so that Morse is not not a requirement. Now the thing is, it's good to know Morse code, because Morse will get through where others, data can't or voice can't. You can hear it through the hash. And I remember there was one military guy that was captured, and he was blinking in Morse code while the enemy was taking his pictures, filming him, and he was actually blinking Morse code.
My personal opinion, I wish they had kept the Morse code requirement for at least the extra class or the highest class license. To me, it seems like that if all else fails, the digital modes, including Morse code, usually will get through. And so I feel like that, at least operators of the highest class license need to know Morse code.
Still, there is a lot to learn, and operators must pass FCC exams to climb the ranks of proficiency and licensing.
It means that you have more privileges in the bands. Let's face it, amateur can talk at 375 times the power of a CB radio operator. So we have stuff that can be dangerous. We're allowed to fiddle with our radios and things like that. So we have to be fairly knowledgeable. Now, the entry-level technician license, they want to let you know a little bit about safety, make sure you know that, and things like that. As you get up in the classes, you can talk further, and they want to make sure that you're not going to hurt somebody or yourself.